Ladies and gentlemen, inductees, the Garrett brothers. It was once said, all you have to do is go to Howard College and tell them your name is Garrett, and they will issue a football uniform to you. Such was the reputation of the 5 Garrett boys from Albertville. For 10 consecutive years, there were 1 or more Garrett boys playing at Howard College. They were part of the second family of Dr. John Hosea Garrett, who moved to Skirrum on Sand Mountain from Delta in Clay County. Following the death of his first wife, John met and married Adna Geneva Daniel and moved his first family of 6 children from Delta. Soon, there were 6 more little Garretts. The first was a girl, Jewel, who made many sacrifices so that her younger brothers could have the opportunity to attend school. She became a teacher, retiring from Winfield City Schools in 1963 with 41 years of service. Dr. Garrett died in 1911, and Mrs. Garrett moved the family to a 35-acre farm in Albertville, where the family lived by farming. She sent her children to school, took them to church, and instilled admirable character traits in each of them. Each of her children graduated from high school and college and entered the education field. Mrs. Garrett was not happy when the football coach at Albertville State Secondary Agricultural School wanted her oldest son to play football. But play he did, starting a tradition of Garrett's that saw each of the boys play football in high school and earn scholarships to Howard College in Birmingham. These were the Garrett boys. John is on the right end of the bottom row of this photo of the 1923 Aggies. Younger brother Wheeler is on the top row, third from the left. The 1924 Aggie basketball team featured Hall of Fame player Hugh Shorty Ogle, first from the left, and John Red Garrett, third from the left. He was the first of the brothers to attend Howard and was an outstanding player. Following graduation, John coached at Hamilton High School and returned to Albertville and served as a teacher and principal before crippling arthritis forced his retirement. He is credited with the suggestion to bring the school mascot name back to its original, Aggie. Gordon, pictured here, the second player from the left for the 1926 Aggies, played football, basketball, and baseball at Howard College. As a junior, he was offered a contract as a pitcher by the Washington Senators. However, a shoulder injury inflicted by his brother in spring training ended any prospects of a professional baseball career. Nevertheless, this steered him into his career as a teacher and coach. He coached football, basketball, baseball, and track at Geraldine from 1934 to 46. One of his teams had only 12 players, but was still undefeated. While at Geraldine, Gordon met and married Ruth Lowry. They had one daughter, Adna. Gordon stopped coaching in 1946 for health reasons, but continued teaching at Geraldine until 1954, when he moved back to Albertville to teach until his retirement in 1963. Wheeler is the last player on the right in this photo of the 1926 Aggies and was the third brother to attend Howard College. He played football and was a member of Theta Kappa Nu fraternity. The 1931 Howard College yearbook states that Wheeler Garrett, another of the famous Garrett brothers, has been a mainstay on the team and his place will be hard to fill. After graduation, he coached at Susan Moore and Albertville. He entered the Navy in 1942 and later managed a business in Albertville. Russell continued the tradition at Howard as a standout on the football team. Following graduation, he coached at Blumpsville, Scottsboro, Boaz, and Gunnersville. While at Blumpsville, he met and married Kathleen Cobb. They had 2 daughters, Patsy and Sherry. He left education and entered private business in Albertville, where he served as a member of the Albertville City Council. This photo shows 3 of the Garrett boys together on the 1927 Aggies football team. Gordon is on the back row, 4th from the right. The middle row has Russell, 3rd from the left. And the final Garrett brother, Norman, 5th from the right. Norman, or Pete as he was called, became the 5th of the Garrett brothers to attend Howard. He was the youngest and the smallest of the brothers, but he was also a gifted athlete. After college, Pete served in the United States Navy before coaching at Choctaw County High School, where he met and married Doris Phillips. They had one son, Phil. This rare photo of all 5 brothers shows top row, left to right, Russell, Wheeler, Gordon, and Norman, with Phil and John on the bottom row. This photo shows 3 of the brothers and their wives. Left to right, Russell and Kathleen, Gordon and Ruth, and Norman and Doris. One of the stories told often by the brothers concerned a football game in the 1930s between Geraldine and Boaz. Gordon coached Geraldine, Russell coached Boaz, Wheeler was the head linesman, Pete was the umpire, and John was the referee. Ladies and gentlemen, 2009 inductees, John, Gordon, Wheeler, Russell, and Norman Garrett. Coach John Allen is going to be inducting the Garrett brothers, and accepting on their behalf are Adna Garrett Roden and Sherry Garrett Harper.
Ladies, it gives me great honor and pleasure to present this on behalf of the Marshall County Sports Hall of Fame. It's my great honor to have known each of these gentlemen who are not with us tonight. They were pleasant to be around, knowledgeable, good fathers, at least 2 of them. And we're proud to be able to have these 5 gentlemen from this era of our time be in the Hall of Fame. Adna Roden, Sherry Harper.
Thank you. I don't know why I get to be the one who talks, but some of you may know why. I'm up here representing my mother, who is back at our table. She is 94 years old, and I am so glad that she got to see this happen. I want to thank the members of the Board of Directors of the Marshall County Sports Hall of Fame for honoring my dad, Sherry's dad, and our uncles in this way. I especially want to thank John Allen and Dr. Ferguson, because I know they've worked long and hard to get the boys, the Garrett boys, inducted as a group. I know that each one of them was outstanding in his own right, but this is an example, a perfect example of the saying, it's the whole that's greater than the sum of its parts. To me, their uniqueness is that they all 5 played ball, whatever kind of ball was in season, at Albertville High School. They all earned football scholarships to Howard College. They all graduated from college and then went into the education field. I think that's pretty unique. I know that they left a lasting impression on a lot of lives, not just their children, but many children. We'd also like to thank Mr. T.J. Carnes for his book, Out of the Sand, which brought home to me the great history of Albertville High School. And we're indebted to him for a lot of the stories and a lot of the pictures that you saw here tonight. I also want to thank Paul Maccabee. I am so proud that Paul is trying to preserve the history of athletics at Albertville High School. I went to visit him at school and borrowed a picture, which I think he had gotten from Sherry's dad, so that we could prepare this video tonight. Sherry and I would agree that our daddies have always been in our personal halls of fame. We're just glad that everybody else gets to see it too. Our grandmother, we would be remiss if we did not recognize her. When my grandfather died, they had no money. They lived in a little town called Skirham, or it was not a town, it's a suburb of Geraldine. But she knew that in order for her children, her daughter and the 5 sons, to have the education that she knew was so important to them, she had to move. She bought a farm, and I told Sherry today, if it's almost like the 31st chapter of Proverbs was written about our grandmother. She was a wise woman. She was a virtuous woman. She was a hard-working woman. She demanded and expected excellence from her children in everything they did. And they truly did call her blessed. After teaching and coaching in other areas of Alabama, each of the boys decided to come home to Albertville to raise their families and live out their lives. They were a close group. They always looked out for each other. They were very humble. They never wanted the limelight for themselves. But I know how truly honored they would be by this induction into the Marshall County Sports Hall of Fame. I can imagine that they're all together watching these festivities, just like they got together and watched ball games every New Year's Day, every Thanksgiving Day, didn't they? But I know that my daddy is probably saying right now, okay, they've seen you. You can sit down now. Thank you very much.
I'd just like to add my thanks and to explain that, yes, I knew she was going to say it and she didn't. I'm the older one and I really should have spoken first. But thank you so much for this honor. As you can tell, it was a wonderful family to be a part of. I know they would be so pleased that you all are here and that you have remembered them in such nice ways. Although I've been gone from Sand Mountain for 47 years now, the things they taught me and this community taught me always went with me. My dad, Russell, used to always say there's only one thing you owe your children. That's an honorable name. And aren't we lucky that not only did they talk that talk, but they walked it as well. Thank you.